Yeah, okay. So RFQ required. Okay. In purchasing side, we have a P2P cycle. Okay. Starting from requisition, RFQ, quotation, code analysis, purchase order, GR, and like receipt and all. So in this flow, the second step, RFQ. Okay. So RFQ is something like request for quotation. So whenever you have demand, right? So we will publish our requirement in a market, and we will also send some our requirement to some suppliers, okay, for requesting their quotation. Okay, the suppliers will send their quotation. Okay, and we will decide who is the best supplier for our company, like for providing items to us, like who is the best supplier. It will decide based on who actually providing with best quality, with okay, less price, okay, and best service. There are some factors, with the factors it will decide. And again here, why we have this for these items, item level RFQ required, right? Okay, some companies will follow all the process which is Oracle provided, starting from requisition, RFQ, quotation, all this. In that case, RFQ, request for quotation, if you required, then you should enable this, yes. Okay, okay. So you will get to know more about what is this RFQ. Okay, request for quotation, you will get to know when we start purchasing model. And this is like taxable, whether you want to tax or not. Okay, fine. So this is invoice matching. Okay, invoice matching is something like you you receive the material from your supplier. Okay, and then you created an invoice. Okay, you created invoice, and the whatever you received and whatever the invoice quantity, if you want to match, then it is required. Invoice matching, receipt required, yes, it should be yes. Just an example, you have a requirement to purchase some components. Okay, some components from supplier, maybe 100 components. Okay, 100 components, you created a PO and you send to your supplier, and your supplier is sent only 90 items. He said like 10 items I will send after a week, after or after a month. Okay, so here invoicing, how it will happen based on, again we will be having some match approval levels and all. Okay, that we'll discuss. So here how it will happen, it will take the details from the PO. Okay, and and they will create, and they will it will default. Okay, it will default from PO. In that case, what is happening, supplier is only sent 90 item, but your PO created for 100, but you are making invoice for 100, but you not received remaining 10, right? You only received 90. In that case, there is a mismatch, right? You are paying amount for extra 10 quantity even though you not received, right? In that case, if you want to control that kind of mistakes, that kind of scenarios, if you want to control, then we can use this receipt required, yes. Okay, receipt required, yes. And this is something like inspection required. If you make case, inspection required in the sense, uh, like you received, for example, your supplier is sent 100 quantity only. Okay, you requested in PO 100 and your supplier is sent 100. Okay, but in quality checking, 5 quantities failed. In quality checking, 5 quantities failed. That 5 quantity you send it to some shortage sub inventory, and you make it to some other place, and again maybe you might return that item again to your supplier. Okay, you not yet return, you will return maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, you will return. But as of now, 5 quantity is rejected, and it means that now totally how much quantity you have in your inventory, 95 only. If you select this also, yes, whenever the business team are creating invoice, right, it will also check PO, it will also check receipt, received quantity, and also it will check what is the accepted quantity. Means what is the quantity is accepted. So based on the accepted quantity, they will pay the amount to supplier. Okay, that's the purpose of this. So fine. Again, we will be having lot of discussion in the purchasing side about this invoice matching, and about this we also have match approval levels. Okay, we'll discuss that. Fine. Next is default buyer. Fine. Let me set it this back. Okay. Now next is default buyer. So if it is a raw material components which they're purchasing from outside, right? Then if you want to default a single buyer, like in organization, there are many employees are working, right? So all the employees are not the buyers. Okay. Again, only the procurement team will be having maybe a 10 members or 20 members. Again, it depend on the how big the company it is. Okay. If it's a huge company, even they can have 100 procurement team members. Okay, in that case, they will do buyer setup for them, means they only purchase the item, not other should not raise purchase order and all. Okay, in that case, for example, you have 10 buyers for this item. If you want to default a single buyer, specific buyer, you can set up default buyer here. Okay, default buyer here. Fine. Next is receipt close tolerance. Receipt close tolerance in the sense, example, you created a PO with 100. Okay, now we are in purchasing, we are all discussing purchasing related, purchasing the items from supplier, all related to purchasing we are discussing. Okay, so fine. So here PO is created 100, PO is created 100. Okay, and if you specify some percentage here, okay, some percentage, close tolerance percentage. For example, I'll specify 95 or 98, close tolerance. Okay, close tolerance. 98 percentage I have specified. It means that you created a PO with 100 and you have received 99 quantity. In that case, do you want automatically close the receiving tolerance, like receiving status? In that case, if you specify this, if you use this functionality, right, then automatically the system will close the um, receiving receiving status. Automatically system will close. Means it means that next one quantity is not required to again get it from supplier. You created a PO with 100, that is fine. But again, if you received 98 quantity, what does that mean? Means remaining two quantity not required for you only, right? Okay. In that case, you don't want to the receiving status to should be open. You want to close it. In that case, we can utilize this functionality. Okay, fine. So next is UN number. Okay. So UN number something like United Nation number. So if you see any hazardous items, when I say hazardous items, it's like dangerous items. Okay, dangerous items. If you noticed, are like petroleum or something gas related, or any truck is moving in front of you, you might see some dangerous symbol, right? Dangerous symbol, and it will have some number. If you notice, let's see, UN number and truck matches. See, this is like this kind of symbol you might see, right? These are like hazardous symbols, dangerous product symbol. You might see this kind of symbol, right? See, these are all hazardous materials, hazardous materials. So these will have one UN number here. You might see one UN number over there. So that UN number, how it will generate from here only. Okay. If this application is using any the company which is manufacturing dangerous products, right? Dangerous products. like petroleum, gas, okay, or any flammable items, blasting items, right? If it is manufacturing, then they will use this functionality UN number. So United Nation number. Okay, and this is like class. There are like 9 classes is there, hazardous classes, class 1, class 3, class 4, like that. Okay, you can see hazardous classes, hazard classes, right? Hazard classes. So it's like this. 9 up to 9 is there. Let's see this. Yeah, all this. Class 1 explosive. So dangerous goods, right? All these are dangerous goods. Like this symbol you might see. When it is there here. Yeah. Here class 1, class 2, up to 9 will be there. Here. Okay. When I click see more, it's like not coming in sequence way. This route. Class 1 is explosive. Class 2 is gases. And this is like flammable liquids, flammable solids. Okay, oxidizing substances, something. Okay, it's like toxic, radioactive. Okay, all this, right, are dangerous products. In that case, the United Nation number. Okay, it will have some unique number. That number they will assign here, and the class they will assign. And whenever they do any transactional activity, right, this will also track there, and it will also print in the documents, saying that that documents is for what. It's like for transportation. Whenever they do any transport, right, they will have this track. Okay, what is this item, this UN number? By just saying this UN number, they can identify what type of item it is. It's like 1203. For petrol, what is the UN number? UN number for petrol, it is UN 1203. It's like flammable liquid, right? 1203. You might see this one to say here 1203. Okay, fine. So that is the purpose of this. And list price. List price will decide what is the price of item, price of this item. It will decide. Okay, if you want to input, if you are purchasing this item, and if you want the price to be defaulted in the purchase equation, purchase orders, you can give but list price here. Okay, list price here. So since it is a manufacturing, we are manufacturing this item, it is not a purchasing item. Okay, I'm not going to specify. Fine. So price tolerance. So price tolerance is something like, um in purchasing side we have uh, price control tolerance, price breaks. In that case it will come. That's fine, we'll discuss more on purchasing side. Okay, and expense account. So this expense also account also defaulted from where? From inventory organization parameters. Okay, from parameters. Fine. And unit of issue. Unit of issue. It's like something like maybe in dozen each you want to issue. Like whenever you do any kind of issue transaction, how do you want to issue it? Issue this item. That will decide this. Okay, fine. Each is fine. Again, you don't need to select here. Okay, if you want to have different UAM, right, you can select. Fine. Invoice close tolerance. So how the same here receipt close tolerance, same here also. For example, you have created a PO with 100 quantity, and you have received okay, you have received maybe even like 100 quantity you received, but you are doing the invoice for 99 quantity. Means for one quantity the supplier is given something discount, or one quantity the supplier may be given free of cost. In that case, if you create a 99 quantity for invoice, then rest one quantity, if you don't want, right, then you can give some percentage here. Okay, and that the status of the invoice, right, will close. Instead of keeping it open, it will close. Okay, fine. So markup price. So markup price something like you are not, you are selling this item, means you are sending this item from one organization to other organization. Okay, like within your operating unit, you are sending from one organization to other organization. Okay, and if you want to have some markup price percentage, for example, your the item price is 100. Okay, and if you give here 10 percentage markup at 10 percentage, what will happen is, mm, um, since it is internal movement of the item, since the, for example, Bangalore is manufactured the item, so Bangalore should have some credit. uh, Bangalore spent 100 rupees. Again, if Bangalore send the item with 100 rupees only to, even though it your inventory organization, other inventory like Hyderabad, then what is the benefit for Bangalore? Okay, so that is the purpose. This markup price will be there. This markup price is something like on your cost, manufacturing cost. Whenever they do internal movement, they will give some percentage. If you give 10 percentage, then it is like Bangalore organization is selling to Hyderabad organization with 110 rupees. 100 rupees they have spent for manufacturing an item, but 10 rupees they are taking extra. Okay, even it is internal movement only that transaction accounts will hit. It is something like some credit should be there, right, for a manufacturing unit. That's the reason. Okay, that cases this markup prices they will use. Okay, well, this is rounding factor. So something like we have rounding factor, right? After some amount, if we have again by pesos and all, right? Then if you want to have two rounding factor and all, you can utilize this. But any questions before we move to next tab? Fine. Next is receiving tab. So in receiving tab, we have receipt date controls. All when we discussing receiving options, you will get to know. Okay, all and these are all receipt close, invoice close. You will be having with the examples. Okay, fine. So receipt date control. So if you enable this receipt date control, okay, you will be having a reject and warning. Okay, first of all, what is this receipt control? Let's understand. Okay, for example, you created a PO and you requesting the items, might be you requesting the item maybe 11th. Okay, next month 11th you're requesting the item. Okay, and but your supplier is send the item fourth only, fourth only your supplier is sent. In that case, will you accept? If you like you requested on 11th, but your supplier send the item on 4th, will you accept? If you are an individual, like you just added your personal purpose, then it you are very much happy. But think about in company perspective, company way. If you requested on 11th, and if supplier is sent on 4th only, they will be having some shortage on storing the item. Means they have planned by 11th my organization will get empty and I can store the item. But if a supplier is sent on 4th only, you already have an items where you will keep the other stock. You have an issue, right? How do you want to control this? We can control based on this receipt date controls. If you keep some days here, for example, receipt days early, if they sent more than like a requested date before 5 days, right? Then what do you want to take this? You want to reject? If you select reject, right, it will reject. It won't accept supplier receipt. Again, the supplier will have to take the quantity back to their organization. Okay, reject. If you give this warning, if you give this warning, it means that it will just give warning message saying that you are receiving the item. Okay, basically you requested so and so date, but your supplier is sending before that, like early they are sending it. Make sure you have a space to store this item. It's like warning message, but it will allow the transaction. Okay, this is early case. And what about late? Days late. Okay, days late. Same example. You requested on 11th, but your supplier is sending on 18th. Okay, 18th your supplier is sending. So in this case, maybe on 11th you have planned a, maybe 11th you receiving, from 12th onwards you have planned a manufacturing activity, but your supplier is sending on 18th. Okay, 18th. So you have to start from 12th to manufacture the items, and you have given a commitment to your customer saying that I will deliver the laptops to you by maybe 16th. But your supplier is sending the raw material itself on 18th. So in that case, okay, in that case, will you accept? No. Okay. So in that case, you can even keep here 5 or whatever it is. This late should not be more than that. Maybe they maintain 2 days or 3 days. Okay, 2 days or 3 days. Okay, should not be more than. For example, they request on 11th. If it is 12th or 13th, that is fine. But again, if it delayed, right, they have to manage this production. Okay, fine. So that purpose. So if it is late, then how do you want to control? Same thing you can specify either warning or reject. Okay, fine. I will set it this back because these items is not related to purchasing activity. Okay, just take an example. Fine. Next is over receipt quantity control. So over receipt quantity control in the sense, same like you requested a purchase, like you requested a supplier to provide 100 items, but your supplier is sending 120 items. It is not again with the free. You have to pay amount. Your requirement only 100, but your supplier is sending 120. So how do you want to control? Yes, we can control based on over receipt quantity control. See what are all we discussing, right? These are all interview questions only. So logical interview questions. Okay. So in this case, how the interview question will come, right? See, receipt days date control, right? See, hey, I have a requirement from business. Okay. Um, by my business are using like using purchasing model, and they're creating purchase orders, and they want to have some control saying that if they requested so and so date. Okay, if supplier is sent with delay or late, then I should restrict creating the receipt and all. So in this case, what is the functionality we can use? Yes, we have a functionality, receipt date control functionality. With the days early, days late, you can input the number, like days you can input, and what action you have to take, that action you can specify. Okay, fine. Fine here. So our receipt we are discussing, right? So in over receipt point of view, you requested 100, but your supplier is sending 120. You want to control that? Yes, you can control by using percentage here. You can make again here reject or warning. If it is reject, if it is more than that, for example, I have specified here 0.5 percentage. It means that you requested 100, 5 percentage in 100, 5 quantity, right? 5 quantity. Up to 105 quantity only you can receive. If you receive 106 quantity, it will reject. Okay, it will reject. So we can also have control here. Fine. Next is valid transactions. Allow substitute receipt. So if you see this word substitute, so this word itself it is telling something like you are going and purchasing some item, but same item is not available. Are you okay to take another item, substitute item or alternate item? Just an example, you are going and purchasing some toothpaste, Dabur Red. Okay, but Dabur Red toothpaste is not available. Are you okay to buy Close Up? Are you okay to buy any Colgate, any other toothpaste? If yes, yes, substitute. Allow substitute is enabled. Okay, in company's perspective also, they are purchasing some components, but the same component is not available. Are you okay? The supplier will inform, are you okay to receive other item and this item also having a similar functionalities? They will explain. Again, it's up to us whether to buy or not. If you want to have for this item, substitute item, then you should enable this. Okay, you should enable this allow substitute. Yes. Okay, fine. And this is allow unordered receipt. So when you see this unordered, we know ordered, right? Ordered is something like we place the order, we place the order. Okay, we created the order. That is the meaning. What is like unordered? It is something like it doesn't even created a order. Okay, so these scenarios will come very rarely when you have a good relationship with your supplier, like company to company. Okay, okay, good relationship. In that case, this allow and order receipts will be applicable. So it is meaning of the meaning of the purpose of this, right? Sometimes we create a purchase order and we send to supplier, and supplier is loading the item or he is providing the items. Okay, and suddenly you got to know you need another item also. Okay, you need another item through an email or through phone call. Verbally you talk to your supplier saying that, hey, I need this other item also, please send it in same truck. Okay, but you won't have that item listed in PO. It means unordered, you not ordered that item, right? So if you want to use that kind of functionality, we should enable this. Again, the supplier will send the item, but you don't have the purchase order. Once you receive the item, then you create the purchase order. Means for creating a purchase order, sending for approval, it may take days, but your supplier is already loading the items. Again, if you request, again you need to go for new purchase order, and again supplier has to spend some transportation cost. Everything will be there. To avoid that, if you use this functionality, okay, on need basis, the supplier can provide the items which is not there in the purchase order level. Okay, whenever we create purchase order, right, that purchase order PO PDF copy we will send to supplier. Supplier will pack the items based on purchase order copy. Okay, and he will send ASN, advance shipment notice. Okay, fine. Now you understood what is the substitute unordered. Hmm? Fine. So next is allow express transaction. So this, what is this express meaning? We know express is something like skipping some activity or moving fast, right? Express. And we know the generically we have express buses. If you if you see the village bus and express bus, village bus will stop in every stop, correct? Every stop it will stop and it will move on go. But express bus, it will only stop specific to decide bus stops, right? It won't stop in it won't stop anywhere. It will only stop specific to some bus stops only. Correct. Just if you take an example, here also the transactions, express transactions. Okay. It is something like skipping the process and directly performing the delivery action. So whenever you create a purchase order and whenever your supplier is send the items, we have some process in Oracle to receive the item. First of all, you have to receive and you have to do inspection required and you have to move the quantity to sub inventory. Okay. First receive the item. Same here. Let me go back to the structure. Yeah. So whenever your supplier is send the item, you will receive the item to this place. Okay. And you will do quality checking. Somewhere department will be there. The quality department will check whether this item is damaged, whether the item is working fine, everything they'll check. And then they will move to some storage sub inventory or raw material sub inventory. So now how many activities? First receive activity, inspection activity, and deliver activity. So three activities. Okay, three activities. If business want to skip those activities, it is an inspection required item, but they already performed. It is fine. Everything is fine. Okay, everything is fine. Our own employee only went to supplier place and he done that activity, inspection activity, everything in their place itself, and it is fine. Everything is fine. You don't want to again do manual activity, receive, inspection, deliver. You want to skip that. In that case, if you use this Allo Express, directly you can move the item to sub inventory by skipping, receiving, inspection. Okay. So that is the purpose of this Allo Express transaction. Fine. So next we have receipt routing. So receipt routing, we basically have three: direct, standard, and inspection required. Whatever we discussing here, right? That the receiving activity will decide again here. Direct, standard, inspection. Direct in the sense, so whenever you create PO and your supplier is sending the item, okay, for receiving, when you do receiving, directly the item will be storing to storage. Direct means. Standard means first you will receive the items and you will check which sub inventory the space is available and you will move the item to decide sub inventory. That is meaning of standard. And inspection required. First you receive the item and you will ask your quality department to perform the quality check. Once quality is accepted, then you will move the item to some storage sub inventory. Okay, that is the meaning of inspection. Okay, in technical terminology, if I can say, it is a single step. This is two-step process and this is three-step process. Okay. Direct in the sense, directly you'll do deliver activity and receiving activity. First you do receiving and deliver. And inspection, first you do receiving activity, inspection activity and deliver activity. Okay. Deliver to sub inventory. So that is the purpose, this receipt routing. This is very, very important in the question. Okay. What are the receipt routings we have? Three types of receipt routings. Okay. Fine. Enforce ship to. This is related to shipping. We'll see this one functionality. Okay. And receiving sub inventory. Like for example, here we have only one in the diagram, but in organizations they will have a lot of receiving areas, right? Receiving area. If you want to default one sub inventory as a receiving for this item, we can give this here. Okay. Receiving sub inventory, you can select. By going to the list of value, you can select. As of now, we not define any sub inventory, right? That's the reason. Okay, fine. Next we have 5 minutes. Let's see how can by tomorrow we will finish this item topic. We are spending more time because it's a very key things. We should know all item attributes, like key attributes we should know. Okay, this is related to planning. Okay, planning side and that too more on item related. Okay, item related. So weight related. If you want to maintain for this item weight UAM classes, UAMs, then you can maintain here. Okay. For example, a kg unit weight. If you want to maintain, for example, 4 kgs like that. Okay. If it is a volume. So it's related to volume, the liter items, liquid items, that one you can maintain here. Okay, and this is dimensions. Okay, if you want to maintain for this item dimensions, you can select here meters we define, right? Yeah. Again, centimeters, okay, inches, you have to define and you have to assign. And once you define that, length, width, height, you can assign. Okay, we have screen size and all, right? Screen size, where any item they will be having dimensions, right? What is the length of item, width of item, height of item, that you can maintain here. Okay, fine. And if you want to maintain this item as a container, some container box, container item, then you can enable this. And if you want to, if it is a vehicle, like small vehicle in the company, we might see the small vehicles in the company, right? Some small storage items, like moving the items from one place to another place. Small trucks will be there, right? Small trucks, truck in warehouse. Let's go to the images. See these small trucks. If you want to define an item as the small truck, okay, you can enable this vehicle. Okay, fine. If you enable this container, this will ask you container type and all. It will ask you. See, it is enable. What type of it is? It is a box. I told you, right? Either a box, rock, pallet. Okay, fine. If you disable this, if you enable this, then it will ask you maximum load, how much load it can be. If you see this one, this vehicle maybe handle maybe 500 kgs or something. Okay, that capacity you can give percentage. Okay, and this is type collateral item event. Even you can create the item with the event. Okay, with the event you can create for that event, you can purchase that event for that purpose event. And equipment is something like um something in warehouses we have some equipments. If the item is equipment, you can define. Okay, electronic format or these are all OM individuals. Again, Oracle will provide everything, but it's up to the client to use the functionalities. Every functionality is available. Okay, it's up to client to use the functionality. Initially I told you, right? It will fit to any kind of business. Okay, any kind of business. Fine. So next is general planning. So this is related to planning module. Okay, planning module. So from tomorrow onwards, we'll discuss. We have only 1 minute. I'll leave it for any questions. If you have any questions, you can ask. Or you can tell me whether you are understanding, or should I go little slow, or it is okay, I can move for fast. You can advise.
We are understanding, sir.
Hmm?
We are understanding.
Okay, okay. So from here onwards, our own task will be there. Okay, from inventory model onwards. So in multi-arc, I'm telling, right, don't need to spend much time there. Okay, just complete the multi-arc and start practicing inventory. Okay, fine. If you don't have any questions, then we can wind up the session and we'll connect tomorrow. So bye everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.